At last, the Harvest MOVN event has officially begun. Inside the community, people are already calling it the Miracle of 10 Mobic. So this week's Mobic News is a special episode dedicated entirely to the event, what it is, how it works, and how you can participate. Right now, the Mobic ecosystem mainly consists of three core assets: BNB Mobic, WBNB, and MOVN. There are also ecosystem-related tokens such as MOVL, the reward token, MOTE for practice use, and LTM, the mining practice token. First, BNB Mobic is the native core asset of the ecosystem. WBNB is a wrapped version of Mobic designed for Ethereum-compatible networks. In simple terms, you can think of it as the Ethereum version of Mobic. And MOVN is designed as a more price-stable version of Mobic with reduced volatility. At first, some people may wonder, why create so many different versions of the same asset? But separating assets by role actually provides several important advantages. Mobic itself can be viewed primarily as a long-term store of value asset, and once you think about it that way, it naturally raises questions about how and where it should be stored. Meanwhile, WBNB exists so Mobic can participate in Ethereum-based DeFi ecosystems. Services such as Uniswap require ERC20 tokens, so a DeFi-compatible version of Mobic becomes necessary. MOVN, on the other hand, was designed with stronger price stability in mind. That means Mobic may be more suitable for long-term holding, while MOVN can become more practical for trading and payments. But perhaps the most interesting part is this: the system may help absorb sell pressure on Mobic while encouraging internal ecosystem circulation. A significant amount of short-term trading activity in Mobic is driven by attempts to increase coin quantity during price volatility. In that sense, MOVN could potentially act as a cushion that softens downward pressure caused by rapid trading activity. Of course, introducing multiple assets across multiple layers also increases complexity, but if those roles are successfully separated, the ecosystem itself can become much stronger and more flexible. That's why user-friendly wallet applications and infrastructure are extremely important. Through the wallet app, users can swap between Mobic, WBNB, and MOVN, and on Uniswap, MOVN can also be exchanged with USDT. This is a very important point because it means the ecosystem can establish DeFi liquidity routes even without depending entirely on centralized exchanges. Now, one important question remains: how is the exchange price between MOVN and Mobic determined? Most DeFi systems use Oracle services such as Chainlink to import prices from exchanges and use them as the reference price. But MOVN takes a different approach. MOVN uses a human Oracle system based on voting by a 150-member committee. Considering Mobic's relatively smaller trading volume compared to major assets, this may actually help reduce the risk of price distortion. Personally, I think it's a fairly reasonable approach. Now let's finally talk about the Harvest MOVN event itself. Participants place 10 WBNB into a designated wallet, and when they swap into MOVN at specific price ranges, they become eligible for rewards. The starting reference price is $300. For every additional $100 price range, an extra 10% reward is added. One important thing to remember is this: the reward applies only to the portion exceeding the base reference value of $3,000 for the 10 WBNB swap. The maximum reward tier is capped at 300%. For example, if WBNB is priced at $350 when you swap into MOVN, 10 multiplied by 350 equals 3,500's MOVN as the base amount. The amount exceeding 3,000 is 500 MOVN, and 10% of that 500 is added as a reward. So the final amount becomes 3,550 MOVN. Now let's say the price rises to $430. In that case, the base swap amount becomes 4,300's MOVN. The amount exceeding 3,000 is 1,300's, and because that falls into the 20% reward range, an additional 260 MOVN is added, so the final amount becomes 4,500's and 60 MOVN. Now here's where things become especially interesting. Imagine WBNB reaches $550, but you believe the price may later decline. You could swap into MOVN at that point and receive a total of 6,250 MOVN including rewards. Then, if the price of WBNB later falls to $500, swapping back would allow you to receive 12.5 WBNB. In other words, it becomes possible to increase your holdings from 10 WBNB to 12.5 WBNB. Of course, the opposite situation is also possible. If the price continues rising after the swap, the amount of WBNB you can later recover may actually decrease. At this point, many people may ask, is one MOVN guaranteed to equal $1? According to the MOVN design, the public reserve mechanism is intended to support the system even if the price of WBNB falls by as much as 80%. I explained that mechanism in much greater detail in a previous video, so please refer to that episode for a deeper explanation. Still, some people may ask, if the price really drops by 80%, can liquidity still survive? Can anyone guarantee there won't be a death spiral? And to that, I would say this: no investment system is completely without risk. No one can guarantee that a bank will never experience a bank run. No one can guarantee that a stock will never be delisted. Every investment requires understanding, research, and risk management, so I strongly encourage everyone to study the system carefully before participating. Now let's go over how to join the event. Please refer to the official website, harvestmovn.com. First, purchase the designated paper wallet. Once the paper wallet is delivered, send 10 WBNB to the wallet. It does not need to be transferred all at once. Once the total balance reaches 10 WBNB, the lockup requirement is recognized and participation becomes valid. After that, participants may apply to swap into MOVN whenever they believe the timing and price range are appropriate. To purchase a paper wallet, send 20 USDT per wallet plus 15 USDT for international shipping. Domestic shipping within Korea is free. Then copy the transaction ID and complete the Google form. There is no limit on the number of paper wallets you may purchase. Please remember to consider network fees, and the payment network is ERS20. After receiving the paper wallet, each wallet must eventually receive 10 WBNB. If you currently hold only BNB, you can convert it into WBNB through bmswap.org. There are currently two versions of WBNB, one on base mainnet and one on BNB Smart Chain. For this event, participants must use the BNB Smart Chain version. On bmbswap.org, the process works by sending BNB to the designated deposit address. Then the connected EVM wallet automatically receives WBNB. Because the BSC version of WBNB is a custom token, users must manually add the token contract address inside wallet applications such as Trust Wallet. Please refer to the official website for the correct contract information and related details, and most importantly, always use the official website directly because phishing risks do exist. Additional guidance regarding the MOVN swap procedure and later stages of the event will be announced separately in the future. Thank you.